Welcome to another Triathlon podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is another Triathlon podcast. Enjoy the ride.
No expressions or anything. Hello and welcome back to another Triathlon podcast brought to you by Mana Endurance. Today we have a special episode of The Profiles where we bring on professional triathletes and hear their stories. We are thrilled to sit down with Jackson Laundry, fresh from a couple back-to-back races with a victory at Ironman 70.3 in Michigan and a solid second place in Augusta. Jackson is definitely making waves in the world of triathlon and outpaced Lionel Sanders the last couple weeks after an epic snap battle that we will have to hear a little bit more about. So join us. We're going to dive into his training and racing and have some fun in here. So first of all, Jackson, thank you so much for coming on. We're happy to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be on. Always nice to jump on some of these podcasts I haven't been on before. And yeah, looking forward to chatting with you guys.
Fantastic. And then as always, we've got Josh and Fede with me as well, my ever-present co-hosts. We're going to have some fun, ask a little bit about Jackson's triathlon journey. So why don't we start out, we'll get it out of the way. Kind of tell us a little bit how you found triathlon. How'd you get started with this crazy sport?
Yeah. The first memory I have of triathlon at all was watching Simon Whitfield win the gold medal in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. So I was seven years old at the time. And then my first triathlon, I was not yet 11 years old. It was 2004. The local swim club sort of partnered with the Kids of Steel series and put on the triathlon at the swimming pool that was like, I don't know, half a mile from my house at most, kind of thing. And my dad had encouraged me to go do it. And I went and did it. My dad had done some triathlons in previous years, like before I was born. And then like he got out of it, with kids, family and stuff. And I went and did it. And I sucked. I was last in the swim in my age group, which had 64, 10 and 11-year-olds had 64 kids.
Jeez.
And I was technically 11 for like the way they count age by end of year age. So I was really, really slow in the swim. And then the bike, I did okay. I mean, I had a mountain bike, which most kids did, but there was a couple kids that like knew what they were doing and had road bikes. And then I ran pretty well. I think I was like fifth in the run or something, but didn't do well overall. And I was like, this sucks. I hate this. Like, whatever. I'm not doing this again. And now here we are. So, I just like kind of was drawn to the possibility of getting better and always kind of just kept doing that. Like, I was like, well, maybe I'll do it next year and get a little better and get a little better. And then, the race moved to like a nearby town. And then eventually I was just winning the race every year for a couple of years. And then I got into doing some like sprint tries when I was about 16. My dad trained for some of those too. And we would train for like, 4 to 6 weeks. And that'd be our training. Like all winter I'd play hockey or just do other sports. Didn't really train at all. So I didn't really start training properly until I joined with the coach I have now, which was 11 years ago. I qualified for age group worlds and then I thought, okay, I'll do some serious training and I'll get a coach. And then next year I'll go do age group worlds. And so that was the fall of whatever 11 years ago is 2012. I joined with that coach. That's James Loring of Team LPC. And that was the first year I ever trained in the winter. Like the first year I did swimming and stuff in the winter. So I actually like built up a bit of base. And then I did age group worlds sprint try and came second in my age group. And by this point I was 20 to 24. Like this was second year university. So I definitely didn't like really jump into it at a young age. Like I started young, but I wasn't doing any elite stuff until I was older. So then I did age group worlds again, and it was in Canada in 2014. And I got third in the Olympic. And then I decided to go pro after that and started doing like short course, some draft legal stuff, some non-drafting stuff. And I did better in the non-drafting. I was never really a great swimmer, and I kind of excelled on the bike. And then, I just started kind of getting better. Had some pretty good non-drafting results. Got some podiums, a win or two in some like smaller Olympic distance non-drafting. And then I moved up to the 70.3 distance in 2017 and did pretty well. Got my first podium and had a bunch of like fourth places and kind of just went from there. My first win in 2018. And then I've won at least one race every year since then. And just, it's kind of crazy to look back and realize how far I've come from where I started and like not even really doing that well until I was kind of mid-20s.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, I'm actually over in Calgary, so I'm over in Canada. And I always wonder how people get into the sport trying to train through the winter, because I never would have started triathlon if I hadn't left Canada for a few years for warmer weather. But it definitely makes it a lot tougher when you're trying to, train through the crazy winter and get that base in.
Yeah, it's kind of strange because like I almost enjoy it. Like it's weird. I don't really like winter, but I have it now that I've like, done the adult thing. I got a house and stuff. Like it's a lot easier because I have a place to train in my garage. I have a treadmill, like a good treadmill. So if the weather's bad, I can do my run workout on that. And the trainer over the years, I've done more and more and more trainer. And now I'm at the point where I'm not really even doing outdoor bike workouts. I just race better and perform better when I ride more on the trainer, especially for the hard workouts. For easy spins and stuff, I'll jump on my gravel bike or just kind of sometimes do that. But as long as I haven't been like completely not on the road for a while, like I'll usually jump on. Like if I don't race for the whole off season, I'll try to get on my bike outside and stuff just to get a feel for it again. But just the power is way better when I'm training mostly on the trainer. So that's kind of what I've been sticking with the last little while.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. You see it across all the Canadian athletes. You got Lionel Sanders, Cody Beals, yourself, and kind of I'm the same way where the trainer is just not a problem. But I think that's almost out of necessity. You're spending so much time on it over the winter. You're just like, oh, not so much a big deal anymore once you have it set up. I think that's the big key.
Oh, for sure. And it depends where you are too. Like if you're at a place that has beautiful riding and, safe riding and stuff, that's great. Here, there's not so much of that. I mean, we're not far from the GTA. The roads are getting more and more busy. I'm kind of in the middle of Guelph, so it's not that easy to get out. Like it's 15, 20 minutes until you're on kind of quiet roads. And it's just so much easier to your trainer's already set up. You don't need to you don't even need to be fully ready for the whole ride because you can stop and come back, grab more food and fluids. Like it's just a lot easier. So I used to resist that, and all summer I would not go on the trainer, but I would just like not be as strong. So my strongest riding was always early season. And I started realizing that it was probably because I spent all winter on the trainer. So eventually I kind of switched over, but yeah, I mean, if I was in Boulder or something like that, I'd probably do a little bit more outdoor just because, it's just a lot nicer and riding up mountains is a lot more fun than, just kind of the basic roads we have around here.
I would say, I'm from New England. It's not as cold as what you guys are dealing with, but even as an age grouper getting ready for Oceanside this past winter, it was cool to see Jackson post a lot of your stories and Instagram stuff about you in the snow and in your garage and training while your team's down in Arizona in the nice warm weather or wherever they are getting ready. And then you show up at Oceanside and perform. So, that kind of helps other people who are stuck to trainer work feel a little better too. And I did probably 95% plus of my miles on a trainer inside. So it definitely works power wise if you can handle a bike, right? I guess, you've been riding long enough that you can get through Camp Pendleton without too many concerns.
Yeah, for sure. It's at this point, I've definitely gotten to where I am with my bike handling. Like after 70.3 Worlds in 2019, where I crashed, I kind of decided that these big, crazy mountain descents aren't really for me. And I still did do one race that had one, but I kind of just accepted that I was going to lose time and I wasn't willing to take the risks. And it worked out fine. I didn't really lose the group or anything. So, but yeah, it's a totally different ball game over there. Doing those descents, like there's mountains in the States and stuff, but the descents just aren't the same. Like the roads are wider and they're usually smoother. Like you're going through places that the town was built before roads existed. And so it's not exactly like big, wide, safe conditions. Like they're just kind of building a road with the little space that they have. And like the Europeans are used to that and they can descend like crazy. And it's really tough for like North Americans to go compete. And even when you see them go compete like in Nice, like Rudy Von Berg did great, but he's not really American. Like he grew up in Nice. He is American, of course, and that's great. But he grew up riding that descent. Like he grew up over there. So it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, and actually, let's talk a little bit about that. I know you didn't quite have the day that you were looking for here at 70.3 Worlds with that crazy kind of ride in there. How did your race go in there?
Yeah, not well. I just showed up and felt flat. I think I did a good camp leading into an altitude camp, and I really think I had good fitness, but I just kind of part of it, I went a little bit earlier than I normally do to a race and kind of just sat around and feel like I lost a bit of that edge. And then on race day, it was just like the swim was okay, but I was fighting it. And I was same with the bike. I was kind of fighting through it and I never felt really strong. And then the run, it just kind of came apart. So I think just tweaking the taper a little bit and treating it more like a normal race is probably better. Like it's the same thing. Do the same taper. Like all my best results for the most part have been early or late season where I just kind of do the races and I'm like, okay, it's just another race, go do it. Like do what you know how to do. And you don't need to treat it like any big crazy thing. And like, if I was doing just the performance I had in the last couple races, that's for sure a top 10, like no question, and potentially a top 5. So, like I swam and biked better by quite a bit and then ran pretty well. So, anyway, it's a little disappointing, but you learn from it, and yeah, you make the most of the opportunities you have. And if you look at the season as a whole, I've done 5 non-championship 70.3s and I have 5 podiums, including a win. So I can't really say it's been a bad year, but unfortunately the 2 races that I would have loved that I was targeting to do well in, I didn't. US Open, I was sick. So what do you do? Well, I probably pushed a little too much through the last bit of that training block. And it kind of comes back to that same lesson of you don't need to do anything crazy. Like, you know how to race well. You've done it dozens of times. Just do the same thing. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So, yeah, that was a couple of tough days there, but I still, I'd like to keep this momentum going and, kind of go in. I've got a couple more races and I'd like to get a couple more podiums and hopefully a win or 2. And then, yeah, it'd be a great season. So, it's all pretty much all positive from here on out.
Nice. I mean, along those lines, Jackson, of tapering and stuff, what would you say were your downfalls in terms of tapering for like a world championship? Like, what went through your mind? Like, I really want to be fresh for this race. What did you do differently that probably led you to not having the greatest of days?
Yeah, I think just like you said, just tapered a little bit too much. I don't necessarily. It's not like that taper won't work for me in some cases, but I think what happened was I wasn't that fatigued because I only had a short training block there in France. So I really had only trained pretty hard for like 7 to 10 days. And like, I just was feeling really fresh, like almost like I was just getting going. So I think that needs to be taken more into consideration. If you're feeling fresh, you probably are fresh. And if you taper really early, then by that point you might be flat. Whereas if you're feeling tired and you've got a huge base, and you've got a lot of fatigue, then you need more taper. So basing the taper off of how the training's gone and how the body's feeling, more so than what the race is. Because you always want to taper properly for the race. Doesn't matter if it's Worlds or whatever, just a smaller race. Unless it's like a total train through race, like local race that you're just doing for fun, which I would do occasionally. But yeah, I think I think that was the main mistake. And then the next race, Michigan, it was a similar thing. I was feeling pretty good, and I pushed the training a lot more. Like I trained pretty hard until like even through the Tuesday. It was a Sunday race, and even the Tuesday I trained pretty hard. And then I took Wednesday and Friday really chill, but I did a decently solid day on the Thursday as well. So by the time the race came, I was just feeling recovered just in time. Like I remember the day before the race, we went out and did some like activation stuff, and I was like, I'm still kind of tired, and like I don't know, but you don't need to feel good the day before the race. You need to feel good on the race day. So I think I got caught up in like trying to feel really good, like 2-3 days out. I wanted to feel good mentally, but that just, that's not the right time. So just kind of learned that, and really want to put that to use next year. But unfortunately, no more big races on the calendar, just sort of standard 70.3s. But hopefully they can kind of bring out some good competition, and I can really test myself against like some of the best guys. So we'll see how that plays out.
Do you think Mont Tremblant, like getting canceled, shifted your schedule or your training and like everything you kind of worked for? It seemed like you guys were pretty excited about that event, and then getting there and having everything that happened just take that away from you and trying to refocus. Did that have an effect on your season, you think?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a part of why Worlds didn't go very well. It was already going to be some pretty big gaps because it was six weeks gap, then Tremblant, 6 weeks gap, then US Open, 3 weeks gap, then Worlds. So moving Tremblant made it a 12-week gap. Well, then I was sick for US Open, didn't finish the race. So really it was 15-week gap by the time I went to Worlds. And it's going to be hard to be sharp and on it when you haven't raced for 15 weeks, basically. So I think that was another component, like just not having had that race effort in me for a long time. That sucks. I mean, that probably would have been another good day for me, and I love that course, and who knows what would have happened there, but that is what it is. I mean, a lot of races have been canceled lately, and in terms of the training, it didn't really change much because, well, whatever, I'll just go home and start training again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you definitely showed that you had that fitness going in at 70.3 Michigan. Sounds like you had an awesome day out there and a wicked bike split, especially. Can you tell us a little bit about how that day went for you? How'd you feel?
Yeah, I felt really good. The swim was solid. It would have been, a big ask for me to get in that group with those front guys. I haven't really gotten out with them too much. So, and there was one guy there pushing the pace whose name is I'm blanking on, but whoever swam the fastest split, they said that guy was really pushing it. So he kind of accelerated it. And then, I was just in that second group, but I really didn't overexert, felt really relaxed. And these smaller races, I tend to take the swim a bit more conservatively if I can, just because it's not that championship type race where if you're not right at the front, it's over. Like you can kind of meter your effort a little bit more, and I probably get out right where I would anyways, because I'm just focusing on drafting and saving energy, and I probably go the same speed. So swim, we were like a minute 25 or a minute 30 down from the leaders, and then I just got on the bike and kind of built into it and started feeling better and better, and caught that group at around 30 something K. And then I just sort of sat at the back for like a couple minutes, not even, maybe 1 minute. And then I just, put in a big attack and dropped that group. And then it was solo, and I was kind of thinking Lionel would be coming through, but then at the turnaround at like 55K or whatever it is, 35, 40 miles, he just wasn't, he lost time. So I thought, all right, now I just got to do this on my own. And so I just worked hard the whole bike, and I was able to get a 2-minute lead, but that wasn't, it was enough, but not by much. I did feel good on the run, but I definitely still felt the effort on the bike. When you're sort of like completely solo off the front, you don't get any sort of breaks. Like if you're in a group or something, you'll get at least a few seconds where someone's passing you and you have to drop back or whatever to rest. But I was just on it the whole ride. So the run was, I felt good, but I definitely never really felt completely safe, because Lionel is just very good at not slowing down and even negative splitting at times, which is what he did, because he barely made up anything the first half of the run. I think it was only like 30 seconds at most. And then he started getting a little bit closer. And then even with 5K to go, I still had about a minute. But he really, really accelerated, and he was coming back. So I kind of was able to catch a glimpse of him after a turn with like 300 meters to go, and he was only like 10 seconds back. So that was like a bit of a shock. I thought I still had a bit more, but then I just had to kind of accelerate and just make sure he had no chance. And then that really just like was the last bit of energy I had. And then I actually threw up right after the race, which I've never done before. Like that was weird. I felt it as soon as I saw him, and as soon as I accelerated, I felt like, okay, just like churned my stomach. So I just needed to get over that line first. Like I was literally like, I was trying to not puke in this last 5 seconds of the race. I was like, this would be bad if I just threw up before I even finished. So anyway,
picture like crossing the line.
Yeah, it was champion. Yeah, that would have been holy. Anyways, I made it, and it was like 11 seconds or less in the end. So, but it was a really good day. That was one of my maybe my second fastest bike split ever, and I did it totally solo. So that was really good. And then and then I biked even better the next week, I think, in Augusta, even though it was a slower split, but everyone else slowed down more. It was slower conditions, but I did have Mika Newt to kind of work with, and we just put a lot of time in, and that was sort of the game plan. And then the run wasn't as solid, but it's tough to back up on the run, especially I think after racing back-to-back weeks. Even though I think on the swim bike, I actually felt even better in Augusta. So that was encouraging. And I know my bike's at a really good level when I can put together 2 fastest bike splits back to back like that. And that Augusta one was like a bike course record by a fair bit. Nobody had ever gone under like 201, I don't think, prior to that. And it was just under 159. So the riding's really good. That's where it needs to be, but I'm still going to dial in with a little bit of equipment modifications just to find the most aero stuff, and I can get even stronger, because really the reality is if Magnus Ditlev's there, he's probably still putting 3-4 minutes into me. So I need to find that little bit of gain so I can ride with him. And if I can ride with him, I can ride with anyone. So that's kind of the next goal for the bike.
Yeah. So how much, I guess, time and energy and investment do you make in kind of dialing in that bike so that you are as aerodynamic as possible? Have you done wind tunnel testing, or are you just kind of playing it by ear? What are you doing to make that faster?
I have done aero testing on the velodrome before. Last year I did that, and that kind of concluded that what I had was already very good. Any changes I made actually made me slower. So haven't done much since then until these races. I actually made some changes between the races, just with slight changes in my position, which helped. Like I definitely was a little bit slipperier in the second race, but now I don't know if I'll be doing wind tunnel just yet, but by the end of the year or early next year, I hopefully will be. But you can also do testing just with kind of like there's programs where you can run your data and see what your CDA is. So you can go out and do some trials like on the road and upload your data, and it takes into account all the conditions, and they can kind of guess your CDA, but you can also just tell if there's a significant difference, it will tell. So that kind of thing won't tease out like a 1 watt difference, but if you put a helmet on and that's way better for your position and it's like 5 watts or something, you'll be able to see that. So I'm going to be doing some of those rough changes, like the bigger things, but then hopefully getting to a wind tunnel and really dialing in some of the smaller things to get those marginal gains, hopefully kind of either end of this year or early next year, so that by next season I'm used to that and just ready to go. And I mean, you can't really keep up with the absolute top guys if you're not doing that stuff. So that's the next thing for me.
Wicked. And you mentioned you have a couple more races going on this season. Anything you can let us know what's coming up or what's going on?
Yeah, I'm just going to be doing 70.3 Los Cabos, November 6th, I think it is, or 5th. And then 70.3, hopefully Indian Wells, December 3rd. And that's not confirmed yet because I'm probably going to see how things feel after Cabo. But yeah, I really think that one's my last chance to kind of get a good score for rankings for PTO, because I haven't done well in any of the big races, and you don't do well in the big races, you're not getting good points. So hopefully I can boost that ranking up and get myself into those PTO Tour races next year. So I'll probably need to win Indian Wells and have it be a pretty competitive race. Like, it takes a bit of luck because you got to have at least 5 highly ranked guys go to have a chance to get enough points. But it's usually a pretty competitive one. Sam Long might do it, and hopefully some other well-ranked guys, and then you have to beat them. Like, that's not easy. I haven't beat Sam since Oceanside, so we'll see. But that'll be kind of the bigger of the two ones for me. I don't imagine Cabo will be too competitive, but you never know. I'll still try to go and win that. And yeah, just do what you can. And if you don't get into the PTO Tour, then you just do a bunch of 70.3s next year and focus on Worlds in New Zealand. So yeah, things are on track. I need to get those good results pushed into the bigger races and see where I stack up, which I have done. Like, I've been 5th and 7th at Worlds, and I've raced well at the first Collins Cup. So I have done it. I just need to kind of be more consistent in those big days.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll have the Mana team cheering you on. We're doing a big team kind of camp and get together around Indian Wells. And I know I'm excited to get away from the Canadian winter at that point for sure.
Nice. Yeah, that's a perfect race for Canadians because it's not really hot, but it's just, you're getting away from the snow, and it's a nice, I loved that race last year. It's a really cold swim. I'm hoping that they do the full distance for the swim, because I think this year they changed the rules with that, and they made it kind of a little bit softer in terms of like the criteria for shortening swims or canceling swims. And that water was 54 degrees, if I remember right. So it's pretty cold. Yeah, it's pretty cold if you're not used to it, but hopefully we'll see. We'll see what happens, because I don't like when they shorten the swims, because honestly, I've actually never done a race where the swim's been shortened. It's either just been the full race or it's been canceled. So we'll see what happens there.
Fair enough. So then next year, if you do get those points for the rankings and get into the PTO series, will that be your kind of goal races in there? What would that season look like?
Yeah, I would probably try to do quite a few of those. It also depends how they structure things, whether they decide to make it like a series where they give, like they contract the athletes to go do it, and then you have a little bit of a backup, because it's tough to go do those races when they're expensive, far to get to, if you don't have some like financial incentive beyond the prize money. So it'll depend on that as well. But at the very least, I'd like to do as many as I can. Just depends what you can get into. And I think they're only having 20 athletes race rather than 30 now. So that obviously makes it harder to get in. I'd like to see them do 30. Like, I think it's more exciting when there's 30, but that's just my own opinion.
Well, especially some of the performances. We've seen some people who would never guess would be winning these races are on the top spots, have had some pretty incredible performances. So it's nice if they give more people a chance to do that.
Yeah, I really think that 30 athletes is the right number. Just from my experience with racing these guys, like I definitely on the men's side, just knowing that field better, I know that there's 30 people who can have a chance for at least a top 5. So I think it's a bit strange to cut it down to 20. I mean, I do get it. There's also balancing like costs and viewership, and they're trying to figure out the best formula. So perhaps they know some things, obviously, that I don't. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I'd love to get into those. But no matter what, I really want to target 70.3 Worlds in New Zealand. It should be a great one. And yeah, I mean, I felt like Finland was a really good opportunity for me that I missed, and I'm not going to forget that. So I'll be really making sure I don't make the same mistakes and go to New Zealand and see if I can't, put together a podium day there.
It would be interesting with how the PTO. I mean, I agree with you. I think the larger field would be nicer. It's going to be interesting with the change and the tour and Olympic year too, right? So you're going to have a lot of people focused on that with Christian and Jason and how they all kind of plan their schedules around it. So, I mean, I think there's so many guys that are going to be looking to get into that who aren't focused on the Olympics like yourself and go after those PTO races. Because you look at Milwaukee and you look at some of these other races, those were awesome. I mean, just as a spectator to watch that type of stuff, and then for you guys to get in it and have that energy level, I think it just is a completely different way of the sport increasing more fandom, and for you guys to make more money and get more sponsors.
Yeah, I really think it's kind of taking the sport to a different level. Like that's one thing I think that hasn't necessarily been recognized is since the PTO came and make these big races, like the performance level has gone crazy. Like it really, really has. And it's been so cool to be a part of that. Just like you really change your perspective on what's possible when other guys are doing it. So like I'm way faster than I ever thought I'd be. Like when I did my first 70.3 in 2017, and if somebody had told me, yeah, you're going to be biking 157 and then running 111 off the bike, I'd be like, you're freaking crazy. Like you're like, that's ridiculous. But it's happening. It's just the way it goes. And like you push yourself to believe those things are possible. And that's how you start changing your training. You're like, okay, these are the numbers I need to do. Let's just do a workout where I spend as much time above that as I can. And then it becomes normal. It takes a lot of work, but it becomes normal. And so it's wild. If things had stayed the way they were 10 years ago, like guys were, you'd be winning. I think Lionel said it in his recent YouTube video after Michigan. He said, everyone who finished top 5 at Michigan would have won if that race was, a few years ago. That was winning performances. And now it's just different. And that's a small race. So yeah, being a part of these big PTO things, like it's just a chance to really see where you are. And I mean, that's why I've been disappointed with this year in a sense. Is just I missed those opportunities, but I still saw, okay, like in US Open, I just was off. I just had an okay swim, and then I just had nothing really on the bike, and the run I just couldn't even finish. But I saw where I needed to be, and I was like, okay, if I was biking like I know I am, and I know I can, and I have already this year, I would have been off the bike in a great spot. And I think I would have been like in a battle for a potential top 5. And I know, that encourages me because I know, okay, you're on the right track, keep going. And I just really want to have those chances to do the PTO things. And I think if I sort of didn't take those chances, I'd be disappointed. Even if I get a bunch of wins and 70.3s, it's kind of like, well, yeah, you got a bunch of wins, but all the best guys were doing the PTO stuff. So you didn't really test your kind of limits there. And yeah, so that's going to be the main thing next year, do well in the bigger races. And if I do a lot of them, they won't feel so big. And I think it'll be a little easier to just kind of do what I've been doing. So really hoping that comes through, but we'll see. They haven't announced a lot of the venues yet. And a lot is still up in the air over the next few months while they kind of get those things organized.
Fair enough. And you mentioned Lionel Sanders in there. We were kind of giggling at your Instagram post of out snacking Lionel. Can you tell us a little bit about your, I don't know if you quite call it a battle, but that rebuttal to Lionel's post?
Yeah, so, I mean, he kind of in the end of his YouTube video, he says how I better be recovering like he is and mentioned all the things that he was doing to recover. Yeah. And so I had a couple different people, at least 2, maybe 3 different people message me and say, you got to do a video where you're just like chugging all those drinks and doing all those things that he said he was doing. And I was like, okay, I got to do this. So then we went out to the store and got all that stuff. And then we just did it in one take. It was like, all right, let's do this. And it was pretty fun and whatever. I didn't think it would really take off, but whenever you reference something Lionel's done, it takes off. So because he's a superstar, and that was pretty fun. But yeah, that reel has the most plays of any reel I've ever done, I believe, except perhaps one I did when I won Oceanside in 2021. That I think one of those is a little bit higher, but other than that, it's way more. So got a few followers out of it. It was fun. And Lionel and I are actually quite, we're we're like friends when we're at the races. I mean, you don't really, the guy's busy as heck and you don't really see him outside the race much, but we're always chatting. And we've raced a ton of times over the years. He just clobbered me for years, until about 2021. He was just putting the boots to me. And then since then I've had his number more often than not, but we've still gone back and forth many times, and we probably will again. Like, he's going to come back strong, and we'll see what I hope he goes to Cabo. It's always fun to race him, and I'm sure he'll find a way to just get that little bit back that he feels like he's missing. And it's never easy to beat him. That's for sure.
Well, he's definitely got some thinking to do based off of his response coming out of Georgia, where you kind of forced him into retirement based on.
Well, yeah, I think if it'll be interesting to see a longer form sort of summary, but I think if he looks at it, he'll kind of realize, like, I really had a similar race as Michigan, and so did he, but I just had someone to work with who was super strong, and that saved me the minute. There's the difference. And then the swim not being wetsuit, there's the other 30 seconds, and now you're 1:30 instead of 10 seconds, and that's just the way it plays out, and that's the dynamics. But yeah, obviously, like, he's pushed way more power in the past, and he'll get back to that, I'm sure. And that's gonna be another minute quicker on the bike for him at least. So I'm definitely trying to keep pushing the limits of, like, I'm not just like, oh, I'll just do the same thing. Like, I know I can save more watts on the bike for sure. And then I'll, if I can get a minute quicker on the same power, that would be huge. So that's the next kind of goal for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. And as a Canadian, I'm a little biased, but happy to see some Canadians on top here kind of battling it out and making a name in the triathlon world. But we've got some kind of like quick, short answer questions in here, something a little fun, little silly. If you don't mind, we will jump into those.
Yeah, for sure.
First question there is, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten during training or racing? Have you ever found yourself at a gas station just like grabbing whatever is there?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I think the gas station, there's always like chocolate bars and stuff. I think I was in the South once, and they had it's like boiled peanuts or something. And I grabbed that one time, more so just to try it on an easy ride. But I'll eat just about anything. I eat like a ton of just like non-gels and stuff when it's like on the trainer, because I like to train my gut to take whatever. So I'll eat like nuts, and I'll have like cake left over or whatever. Like, I'll just eat it. Usually not too much like dairy and stuff, because that's pretty tough. But I mean, lots of chocolate milk, I guess, in between workouts.
Fair enough. If you had to race triathlon as a pair with another pro, who would it be and why?
As a pair? What do you mean, like a relay?
So either the two of you have to run side by side for the whole race, and you can either choose someone who will push you to go faster, or someone who'd be entertaining to spend that time with.
Oh man. Magnus Ditlev, because he is he's super freaking good, and I would hope to try to keep up, but also because I feel like he's like a little better than me on the swim, a little better than me on the bike, and I could like push myself to keep up with him. And even on the run, it's kind of the same, where there's no like one discipline where I'm like, oh, I could never keep up with him there. Whereas if I picked like Jason West or something, it wouldn't really work out, because it's like, well, he's going to run like a 105. So that's tough. But yeah, Ditlev would be a good one. And he's huge. So you can if you can get any kind of legal draft, it's going to be easier.
Fair enough. I like it. Okay. If triathlon had a fourth discipline, what would you add to it that you would have an edge in?
Oh,
a hockey game at the end of it to battle it out.
yeah. Maybe skating, and you put like 10K speed skating somewhere in there. That'd be good. I mean, I've never done actual speed skating, but I can skate, and I can skate well, so that might help me out for sure, especially against I don't know, the Aussies and a lot of the Americans.
Super League style speed skating.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be so much fun.
I think that'd be treacherous for most of the triathletes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be curious to see what percentage of triathletes, like pro triathletes, know how to skate well. I can't imagine it's that high.
Probably no more than a quarter, I would bet.
Yeah. all the Canadians are in
Yeah,
the
we'd have
northern
a
US.
huge advantage.
Awesome. What is your guilty pleasure song that gets you pumped up and ready to go?
Song. Oh, geez. Believe it or not, I barely listen to music.
Really?
I do on the bike, but I'll just like type in like workout playlist and just listen to that just for like intervals and stuff. But yeah, I'm like the worst music. Like I like music, but I'm just so disorganized. I don't like have a playlist. I don't even have like good headphones. I don't even have a Bluetooth speaker. And the radio in my truck is like 80% broken. So yeah, I'm not the best to ask about music stuff.
Now, please don't tell me you just stare at the wall in silence. Do you watch movies or something on the trainer? How do you get through the long train ride?
For the easy stuff, I usually just watch like whatever shows,
Yeah.
or just like YouTube or whatever. But for the hard stuff, I will put music on and just watch Zwift. But I don't know any of the names of the songs because I just type whatever playlist and then it plays, and I don't pay attention to the names. So yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, last question we got for you. What piece of advice were you given that still really resonates with you?
Yeah. Oh man. I don't remember where I heard this. Somebody, it might have been from a friend, or it's bad that I don't remember, but it's one thing that like stuck with me more as time went on. But, like I think it was that people tend to overestimate what they can achieve in the short term, but underestimate what they can achieve in the long term. And I think that's I'm a pretty good testament to that, because nobody would have ever guessed. Like if you took all those 64 kids in my age group in that triathlon, the kid that was like 30th got beat by like everyone in the swim and didn't really do well in any of the three disciplines, was going to be a pro triathlete, winning races and doing well on the world stage. Yeah, I don't think anybody would have guessed that. So I think that's really important, because people they just want the short term satisfaction, right? They're like, oh, in my next race, I'm going to go 10% faster. And then they don't. And then they get discouraged, and oftentimes they'll quit when they don't need to. And if you have those sort of little goals as you go and just keep motivated, you look back 10 years later and you're like, holy cow, I've come a long way. And that's what I've done. And I hope to still keep doing that. But yeah, that one definitely stuck with me.
That's a great reminder for anyone, age groupers, pros. I mean, just keep at it, and persistence, and it's that consistency, I guess, that sticks there. One thing I wanted to add to the questions that we typically ask is like, how much time are you investing in the business side of all of this? Because it's not an easy sport, paycheck to paycheck, when you're winning, and you've got to be winning and make any type of money and get the sponsors happy. But how much time do you focus on that business side of things? And is it growing social? Is it talking to sponsors yourself? How does that work on a weekly basis for you?
Yeah. On the like routine side of it, it's more just making sure you're keeping up to date with your posting and, doing stories and fulfilling the sponsor obligations with like, there's usually a certain number of posts and things like that. It's heavier. The time investment goes up when you're kind of getting towards the next season, because you've got to renegotiate your contracts and find new sponsors and all those things. But it's not a huge amount. It's probably only a few hours a week. And I've kind of designed it. I've kind of planned my life that way intentionally, to where I just don't do really needy things for sponsors, because I'm an athlete. I'm not, the main thing I can offer is my athletic performance, and associating the companies with what I'm doing is going to be more valuable to them than me spending all this time posting all the time or doing events for them or anything like that. And I do like to do appearances at races and stuff when my sponsors are there, and take advantage of those opportunities. But I definitely have made some decisions where I probably make less money not accepting certain deals, where I just think it's going to be more work than what it's worth. And I do that with a lot of things. Like I was coaching a few athletes for a few years, and I decided to move away from that just because of the time, even though it was great money and I enjoyed it a lot. I don't want to look back on my career and think, damn, I could have been better if I didn't do this or that, or any of that. I would rather look back and be like, well, I maybe could have made more money, but I did the absolute best I could, no questions asked, and that's going to be okay for me. So, but yeah, and then the better you perform, the more you service your sponsors anyway. So I think I have a great group of sponsors that all understand that, and they're on board with that, and having not a huge number of sponsors helps, because you can then people really get to know, oh, Jackson Laundry, these are his sponsors. That when you have like a dozen, it's hard to kind of keep things straight. So I try to keep it simple and keep a relatively low number of sponsors and try to stick with them as long as I can, as long as the relationship's positive, and then people know like that's something you really do believe in and you like. And like I've been with Ventum, for example, since 2019. And yeah, I've had all my best results with them and on that bike, and been with RTS since the team started in like 2020. So try to show that loyalty, and when you pick the sponsors right at the beginning and the companies you believe in, it's pretty easy to do that. So I'm happy with where that's at. And yeah, you guys should all check out all my sponsors and support them.
Absolutely. And we'll put some links to your website and your Instagram and everything in there. Now, we won't keep you too long in here. Was there anything else you wanted to shout out or talk about before we let you go here?
Who's going to win Kona?
Who's going to win Kona? Yeah, probably Ann Haug is going to win Kona. But my pick for who I really hope wins is Kat Matthews, because she's just a great person to talk to, and like really genuine person. Like Ann Haug's great too, and so are a lot of the other pros, but Kat Matthews is who I'm cheering for. We'll say that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, it should be an epic battle there down in the lava fields. We're so excited to watch it and suffer out there too.
I'm excited to watch it.
She's racing.
Oh wow, awesome. What's your goal?
You know what? I've had good Ironmans everywhere except Kona, so hoping to make it on the podium this time and have a decent day out there.
That would be a really decent day. So
it would be a very decent.
Good luck. Hopefully you don't melt.
That's what happened. Well, no, last time I swallowed too much seawater. That was not fun.
Oh yeah, that can do it.
But yeah, we'll post up links to all of your social media and everything. Is Instagram the best way for people to kind of follow you and see your journey?
Yeah, Instagram's great. I have a website too, but pretty much all the links and stuff are through Instagram, and I've got my YouTube as well, so check that out. And yeah, thanks for having me. It's been awesome, and hope we can do a follow-up sometime next year when it's like, you did amazing at all the big races this time.
Absolutely.
Don't be too hard on yourself. You've had a good year, man.
Yeah. No, I know. Thanks very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. And yeah, we will post all those links in there so you can follow along with Jackson Laundry. Have a great night, guys.